Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to share with you a very emotional and heart-touching love story. Every story here is filled with the feelings, pain and little hope. So please listen till end, and if you like it, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Let's begin with the story.
This story dates back to September 2022. A patient was admitted to the renowned Bombay Hospital in Mumbai. Doctors treated him for many days. Weeks passed, yet his condition showed no improvement, and the exact cause of his illness remained a mystery. Then one day, the doctors noticed something unusual. Ever since he had been admitted, neither his hair nor his beard had grown at all. The moment they realized this, they were alarmed and immediately ordered a specialized blood test. When the results came back, everyone was stunned. That single test report not only revealed the patient's illness but also exposed a horrifying conspiracy involving two planned murders carried out by people close to him. We are talking about the case of Kamaklan Shah, a man who was being ruthlessly poisoned even while hospitalized. Well, everyone believed that the people who loved him were simply giving him fruit juice to help him recover. So what was the complete story behind Kamaklan Shah? What was the real cause of his illness? Why did the fact that his hair and beard had stopped growing become such a serious concern for doctors? And how did a single blood test uncover a conspiracy that had been unfolding for months? Let's take a closer look at the shocking details of this case. The people behind this sinister plot and the motives driving them will leave you astonished. As mentioned earlier, this is the story of Kamaklan Shah. Originally from Gujarat, Kamaklan Shah moved to Mumbai at a young age in search of work. There, he opened a small clothing store. Through hard work and determination, he transformed that small shop into a successful business and gradually built a strong reputation in the textile industry. He eventually launched his own garment manufacturing company. After achieving significant success, he purchased a luxurious home in the Sankaras area and lived there with his mother, Sarla Devi. In 2002, he married Kadida Shah, also known as Kyle. After their marriage, Kadida gave birth to a son and a daughter. Now let's fast forward to 2022. Kamaklan Shah was living a happy life with his wife, his 17-year-old son, and his 20-year-old daughter. His business was also thriving. On August 24, 2022, Kamaklan suddenly began experiencing severe stomach pain. He was in agony and started vomiting repeatedly. Since he had eaten a meal shortly before the symptoms appeared, the family initially suspected food poisoning. They first tried treating him at home, hoping his condition would improve. However, when there was no relief, his family rushed him to Kriti Care Hospital in Antari. After examining his condition, doctors advised immediate hospitalization. Over the following days, he underwent treatment, but instead of improving, his health continued to deteriorate. He began experiencing numbness in his arms and legs, along with an intense burning sensation in his feet. Doctors ordered one test after another based on the symptoms they observed, but all the reports came back normal. They prescribed medications according to their diagnoses, yet there were no signs of improvement. Given the seriousness of his condition, he was transferred to Bombay Hospital on September 3, 2022, for more advanced treatment. A full team of doctors became involved in his care, but the situation remained largely unchanged. For another week, despite their best efforts, there was no improvement. In fact, doctors were unable to determine what was causing such a severe illness. Nearly every test they conducted returned normal results. Meanwhile, Kamaklan Shah's vital organs began to fail. His kidneys stopped functioning properly, and he had to undergo dialysis. This was an extremely difficult time not only for Kamaklan but also for his entire family. His two children and his wife were deeply worried. Whenever she had the opportunity, his wife visited him in the hospital, checked on him, and personally fed him fruit juice and other refreshments. He had been admitted on September 3, 2022, and now it was September 13. 10 days had passed, and doctors were still trying to understand how healthy man had suddenly become so critically ill and why his condition continued to worsen. Around this time, one of the doctors noticed something strange. On the day Kamaklan Shah was admitted to the hospital, his hair and beard had been trimmed short. Yet even after 10 days, they appeared exactly the same. Not the slightest growth could be seen in either his hair or beard. How was it possible that after 10 days there had been absolutely no growth? To the doctors, this was highly unusual. Regardless of a patient's condition, hair and beard growth generally do not stop completely. This observation immediately raised several suspicions. Doctors promptly ordered a heavy metals test for Kamaklan Shah. Such testing is often used to detect the presence of certain toxic substances in the body. His blood and urine samples were immediately sent to the laboratory. On September 15, 2022, the test results arrived, and the findings were shocking. The report revealed that the level of arsenic in his body was 400 times higher than normal, while the level of thallium was 365 times higher than normal. Arsenic and thallium are extremely dangerous slow-acting poisons. They are colorless and odorless, making them nearly impossible to detect when mixed into food or beverages. Rather than killing a person immediately, these toxins gradually damage the body over time, eventually leading to death. One of their effects is that they can also halt the normal growth of hair and beard. The discovery of such a large amount of poison in Kamaklansha's body indicated that he had been given this slow poison over the course of several weeks. As soon as the poisoning was identified, the hospital administration immediately informed the local police station. At the same time, doctors administered antidote medications to counteract the poison. However, the concentration of the toxin in his body had already become so high that the treatment had no effect. Ultimately, on September 19, 2022, Kamaklansha passed away at the age of 46. This raised the biggest question of all: who had been administering the slow poison to Kamaklansha? Or was he somehow poisoning himself? Initially, the police treated the case as an accidental death and completed only the standard formalities. However, once the presence of poison in his body was confirmed, Kamaklansha's sister made a shocking revelation while giving her statement to the police. She stated that this was the second death in their family within the span of a month. Exactly 1 month before Kamaklansha's death, their mother, Sarla Devi, had also died under remarkably similar circumstances. At first, she had begun experiencing weakness, stomach pain, and frequent vomiting. She too could not be saved despite being hospitalized. At the time, however, family members and others assumed that her death was likely due to old age. Kamaklansha's sister expressed her suspicion to the police that their mother may have been poisoned first and that her brother was later killed using the same type of slow poison. In her statement, she also revealed that her brother's relationship with his wife had not been good for quite some time. According to the statement given to police, Kamaklansha and his wife, Kavita, had a major dispute in 2021. The argument became so serious that Kavita left Kamaklansha's home and moved back in with her parents. However, in May 2022, after discussions between family members, she agreed to return and live with her husband. She did, however, set one condition: she wanted 200,000 per month for her personal expenses. Kamaklansha agreed to this demand, and she moved back in with him. As a result, Kavita was accused of the murders of both individuals. The police registered a criminal case, but because the matter was extremely sensitive, they began a thorough investigation before taking any harsh action, focusing on gathering solid evidence. The first step was to ask all family members to provide blood samples immediately after Kamaklansha's death. Investigators wanted to determine whether an outside individual might have been attempting to poison the entire family. Every family member provided a blood sample. Kavita Shah, however, repeatedly refused. She claimed that she was deeply traumatized by her husband's death and would provide a sample after some time had passed. Nearly 8 days went by before she finally submitted a blood sample. Meanwhile, the police continued their investigation and began reviewing the call records of family members. When they examined Kavita Shah's phone records, they discovered a number that did not belong to anyone in the family, yet she had been in frequent contact with it. In fact, she had spoken extensively with that number even before her husband's death. When investigators looked into the number, they learned that it belonged to a man named Hitesh Jain. As police gathered more information, they discovered that Hitesh Jain and Kavita Shah had been classmates in the past and had known each other for many years. To better understand the situation, investigators quietly began searching for Hitesh. Somehow, Hitesh learned that the police were looking for him. As a result, he spent several days avoiding law enforcement. Then, one day, he suddenly appeared before the police in an injured condition and claimed that he had been kidnapped, severely beaten, and later dumped on a highway. He did, in fact, have visible injuries on his body. The police initially investigated the matter as a possible kidnapping. However, it was soon revealed that Hitesh Jain had fabricated the story in an attempt to avoid police scrutiny. Investigators determined that he had inflicted the injuries on himself in order to mislead authorities. The police then seized his cell phone and continued the investigation. A review of Hitesh Jain's search history led to several shocking discoveries. Investigators found that for several weeks he had been repeatedly searching online for information about arsenic and thallium. His searches included queries such as how does thallium work, where can thallium be purchased, and where can arsenic be obtained. Not only that, but he had also searched for terms such as slow poison and how slow poison works. He had also searched on his phone for how to commit a perfect murder. In total, he had searched for arsenic 105 times and thallium 156 times on Google. The fact that Jane's search history contained repeated references to arsenic and thallium, and that both of these poisons were found in Klan Sha's body, could not simply be a coincidence. As a result, the police took Jane into custody and began questioning him. Following Jane's revelations, the police soon detained Klan's wife, Kavita Shah, and began interrogating her as well. During the investigation, a shocking truth came to light. Based on the questioning of both suspects, the police disclosed that the case was actually connected to an extramarital affair. According to the investigation, Klan Shah and Kavita had been married for many years, but bitterness had developed in their relationship early in the marriage. The primary reason for this tension was that Klan had once discovered messages from Jane on his wife's phone. This issue led to frequent arguments between the couple. The situation deteriorated to the point where, despite living under the same roof, they began staying in separate rooms. However, their family members were unaware of these conflicts. As Kavita grew distant from Klan, she became increasingly close to Jane, and their relationship deepened over time. During this period, the two allegedly began planning how to eliminate Klan Shah so that Kavita and could eventually marry. They also allegedly intended to gain control of Klan's entire property and assets. According to police claims, Jane then informed Kavita about arsenic and thallium poisoning. Investigators believe that the pair first tested these poisons on Klan's mother, Sarla Devi. Sarla Devi died, but no one suspected either of them. This success allegedly gave them the confidence to use the same method against Klan. To carry out the conspiracy, Kavita, who had returned to her parents' home after an argument in 2021, moved back in with her husband in May, allegedly to make it easier to poison him. She dismissed the family cook and began preparing meals for the household herself, something she had rarely done before. According to the police, she secretly mixed poison into Klan's food and drinking water. Trusting his wife and interpreting her actions as care and affection, Klan continued consuming the food and drinks she prepared, which ultimately led to his death. Media reports have also claimed that when Klan Shah was hospitalized, Kavita would visit him under the pretense of checking on him and allegedly mix the same poison into his juice, ensuring that he would not recover. As the investigation progressed, the police gathered numerous important witnesses and pieces of evidence. In this case, Klan's sister, Kavita Lalwani, emerged as one of the most significant witnesses. Investigators also traced the dealers from whom Jane had allegedly purchased arsenic and thallium using a false identity while claiming to be an employee of a pharmaceutical company. The two poisons were reportedly purchased from sources in Mumbai and Punjab. The police also presented WhatsApp chats between Jane and Kavita Shah as evidence in court. Overall, investigators filed a charge sheet exceeding 2,000 pages. They accused Jane and Kavita Shah not only of Klan Shah's murder but also of causing the death of Sarla Devi. According to the prosecution, Sarla Devi was allegedly targeted so that the poison could first be tested successfully, making it easier to later eliminate Klan. As for the current status of the case, court proceedings began after the charge sheet was filed, but the trial has not yet been completed. Taking advantage of these delays, Kavita Shah applied for bail several times. Eventually, in 2024, the court granted her bail. The second accused, Jane, also filed multiple bail applications, but his requests were repeatedly rejected. Most recently, in December 2025, he approached the Supreme Court seeking bail, but the Supreme Court also denied his request. However, in Jane's case, the Supreme Court ruled that if the trial in the lower court is not completed within the next 6 months, he may apply for bail again. As things currently stand, one accused, Kavita Shah, is out on bail, while Jane remains in prison. If the trial is not completed within the prescribed time, however, Jane may also be granted bail. Meanwhile, Klan Shah and his mother, Sarla Devi, continue to await justice. You may be wondering what the blood test reports of the other family members revealed. For your information, no traces of arsenic or thallium were found in the bodies of the other family members. However, a limited amount of these poisons was detected in Kavita's system. At that point, the police argued that while the other family members provided their blood samples immediately, Kavita delayed giving hers for nearly 8 days, citing various excuses. According to investigators, during that period she allegedly consumed a small quantity of the poison herself so that traces would appear in her report, allowing her to present herself as a victim as well. Had the police not examined call detail records, WhatsApp chats, internet search histories, and other digital evidence, Kavita's alleged plan might have succeeded. However, her strategy ultimately failed in the face of the investigators' efforts. Friends, only a court of law has the authority to determine guilt and impose punishment. Nevertheless, if you had the opportunity to share your opinion, who do you believe was the most responsible in this entire case, and what punishment do you think they deserve? Let us know in the comments.
So friends, this was today's emotional love story. If you like the story, please like the video, share it to your friends and subscribe to my channel for more beautiful stories like this. Thank you so much for listening. See you soon in the next stories.